Hello everybody, Nick Wisman here with Wiseman's Weekend Wellness Tips. This weekend I wanted to answer a question that I got this week, which I think is a question that really everybody could benefit to have answered. And the question is, what are some easy tips to have a healthy diet that really anyone can benefit from? What are some easy tips as far as nutrition and healthy eating, that anyone can do? Because, yeah, there are some specifics depending on what specific issues you may be dealing with. But for the most part, if we have consistent eating habits, that's going to benefit us the most. So here are your 5 easy tips for a healthy diet that all of us could do. Now, number 1 is just pay attention to your specific balance within yourself, because balance is the key. That is the number 1 tip, really, is not eating too much in any one direction. A good way to kind of monitor this is just paying attention to the flavors. There's sweet, salty, bitter, sour, and so if we're balancing all those flavors, then we're probably going to be doing okay. So for example, if we're eating a lot of sweet, that's probably not good. If we're eating a lot of salt, that's probably not good. If we're eating a ton of sour, that's probably not good. Having a balance in there is good. And I'd add a couple other flavors too, which we don't always pay attention to as much, but one of those flavors is bland. A lot of vegetables are either kind of more bitter or bland. A lot of grains are a little bit sweet and bland. We need a decent amount of bland stuff in our diet. If we're having too many spicy flavors and this and that in all different directions, again, that doesn't always help us much as having just a consistent, bland aspect to our diet. Often these are the starchy things, the grainy things, the vegetable things. So balancing out those flavors, paying attention to your body, and keeping that balance within your body is the number 1 tip. Number 2 is our digestion likes to be warmer than it does like to be colder. So, yes, this could be literal cold. In other words, drinking cold drinks like with a lot of ice. Our digestion tends not to like that as much, especially as we get in the summer. This is going to become more important. But warm also means just kind of cooked or not. Whenever we cook something, we add heat to it. And then our digestion is better able to digest that because there's a certain amount of heat and warmth with that. Versus when we're eating raw stuff, that's a little, colder. It doesn't have that heat added to it. So if we have a sensitive digestion already, then we're gonna tend to have a bigger problem with like raw, cold foods. So it's much easier to digest things when it's a little bit warmer with that. And warmth can also be added by adding certain spices to it too. In fact, that's what spices are. They were originally put in food to help us digest it, or they were originally put in food to help fight off bacteria and these kind of things. So adding spices help, especially spices like ginger, a little bit of pepper, cumin, all these spices are a little bit warming to help us digest cold or potentially raw things, especially if we have a sensitive digestion. So number 1, just balance everything. Number 2 is warm it up. Number 3, eat seasonally. That's a big thing. Now, I live in Colorado, and so honestly, during the wintertime, it's kind of hard to get a decent amount of stuff seasonally, and that's just the truth. And so, you don't need to be, completely strict with this. It's more just paying attention to, what's on sale in the grocery store. That's a good thing. What may be more in abundance, at that particular time, and so you can eat more of whatever that is. You don't need to exclusively only eat that, but try and eat whatever is in season during that time and trying to eat more of that. So for example, during the wintertime, that's more root vegetables. We traditionally eat a little bit more meat if you eat meat, during the wintertime, more preserved stuff, more pickled stuff, this kind of thing. During the springtime, it's fresh greens that are starting to grow, fresh lettuces, green onions, these kinds of things are starting to grow. During the summertime, it becomes a lot more fruits and berries and these kind of things. During the fall, there's more corn and squash, apples, these kinds of things are in season. So if we can eat more of that during the season, our body tends to do better with that, and it has a lot of things in it which help balance out our body. So that's the 3rd tip, eat seasonally. Number 4 is the timing that you're eating is important. A lot of times we're eating at very inconsistent times, or maybe we want to lose weight and then you really just don't eat much. Our body doesn't like that. Our body does better eating consistently at consistent times. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then with dinner, it's better not to eat too late at night. Our body needs a couple hours before we go to bed in order to digest things properly. So don't eat too late and eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then if you need snacks in between that, then you can have some snacks too. But eating at those appropriate meal times at the appropriate times our body does a lot better with that. It's able to incorporate the nutrients a lot better with that. And then my final tip here is don't stress too much. You know, so many of us are trying to lose weight or trying to do this diet or trying to do that or trying to, you know, add protein or whatever it is, and we stress ourselves out when it comes to eating. You know, everything in moderation, everything in balance, tip 1, is key. And so if you're stressed when you're eating and you're not eating with just kind of this relaxed mindset, honestly, your body doesn't produce the enzymes you need to digest as well. Your digestion gets a little more inhibited. It doesn't move and work the food as much in order to get digested as easily. And there's a lot of other things happening in your body which prevent you from fully absorbing those nutrients when we're stressed. So don't stress about your food too much, really. You know, if you're gonna eat unhealthy at one point in time, that's fine, just do it. Just try not to do it all the time. That's it, you know, and trying to rebalance it out with some other things at the other point in time. So those are my 5 tips. You know, get some balance, warm up that food, eat seasonally, eat at appropriate times in the day, and overall, just be relaxed, enjoy your food, and don't stress yourself out too much. So have a good weekend, everybody. Talk to you later.